Time to party. Absolutely, yeah.
That Al is one foxy gal.
Absolutely, yeah. That's me. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
She's a boss, and that ain't no floss, cause she's dripping with that spicy Al sauce. Wife, mother of a baby boy, and after 14 years, she's still a greatest
That's
boy.
right,
Brilliant,
baby.
resilient, passionate, and savvy. Ooh, that Al is such a baddie. Singer-songwriter, political fighter, trendsetter, ain't nobody better.
She's smooth, she's cool, breaks all the rules.
Show do, y'all.
Joyous, gorgeous, always victorious. Can't lie, she's fly, so sister ride or die. Who y'all talking about? Absolutely, yeah.
And now for the star of our show, wife, mom, best-selling author, singer, songwriter, stage play producer, cooking diva, and the queen of quarantine, Allison Randall Berewa.
Fantastic Friday night, everybody, and welcome to the 4th edition of the Absolutely Air Show, social media's #1 weekly urban variety show that you can catch every Friday night at 10 o'clock p.m. on Facebook at 3 Faces of Me. Go ahead and like that page at 3 Faces of Me. It's on Facebook. Look for it. Now, we have a spectacular show tonight, but it's also an informative show, something that we all need to see and listen to attentively, because there's going to be some valuable information regarding COVID-19, that pandemic that swept around the globe in 2019 and is still wreaking havoc as we speak. Tonight's guests include all COVID-19 survivors. Not everybody survives, y'all, but these 3 people were brave and bold, and God brought them through, and they're here tonight to share their stories. First, we'll have registered nurse Tremisa Dials from McDonald, Georgia. We'll have respiratory therapist Shirley Presley from Loganville, Georgia. And then we have gospel recording artist, singing sensation, Mr. Terrence Cotton from Atlanta, Georgia. All 3 will be here tonight to talk to you, to let you know what they went through, what they don't want you to ever have to go through. But they'll give you the tools and the information to get through it, just in case you contract this deadly virus. So sit back, relax, as we get ready to pay some bills with this first commercial. And we're going to come back with Miss Tremisa Dials. Stay tuned. What's up, y'all? Our masquerade contest is still in full effect. We decided to extend it just for you. Listen, it's a simple contest where you have an opportunity to win a $100 Visa gift card by simply doing something fun. Now, to promote mask awareness and mask safety during the global pandemic of COVID-19, we've decided to host a contest where you beautify, bling out, pimp out masks. Something that we need to wear every day when we venture out into public anyway. So, get you some crystals, some sequins, some jewels, some lace, some string, whatever floats your boat. And then we want you to bling out a mask. Make it beautiful. Think outside of the box. Make it fabulous, and then take a picture of yourself in that bling out, pimped out, beautified mask and send it here to us via email at absolutely.al2020@gmail.com. Again, that's absolutely.al2020@gmail.com. And put in the subject line masquerade contest. And we'll get back with you to let you know if you're going to appear on the show with that mask, that picture, or if you won the $100 Visa gift card. Bling it out, y'all. The masquerade contest right here at Absolutely. Welcome back, y'all. It's about time to start this show. So I hope you're ready to receive this great information and to hear these people who have gone through so much, yet they're here today to share with you. Our first guest is a registered nurse from McDonough, Georgia. That's where I live. Her name is Tremisa Dials, and her story is like none other. Put your hands together and welcome her. At this time, registered nurse and COVID-19 survivor, Miss Tremisa Dials.
Hello.
Hey girl, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. I know this is not easy. I know the experience was rough, but I feel like the more that we talk, have these dialogues, the information goes forth and people hear it and they in turn spread it. This is the good information because you know there's so much bad information out there, but you're here to give it to us straight. So let's start from the beginning. How did you contract COVID-19?
Right. Well, thank you for having me first. I actually contracted COVID-19 from where we suspect that it came from is my my in-laws. So of course it was in the end of March before they had shut down, Georgia at the time. And, we were expecting them to shut Georgia down. So we decided, to visit our parents and before, we were required to stay at home. So first we visited his family, my husband's family, and they lived at the time in Byron, Georgia. So we went down and seen them. The next couple days I seen my mother and dad, and then I went and seen my grandmother. And then I resumed work as normal. And then I found out that one night at work that they had tested positive after having to go to the ER. So immediately, of course, I was nervous because I'm a NICU nurse and I work with neonates and, premature babies. So of course, I was very nervous and also, being around my coworkers that have families. So I immediately put on a mask. I started thinking about who all I had, possibly been in contact with. And then I told my supervisor at the time because, it was the first contact we had with that whole coronavirus thing. So I told her, they had tested positive. I just found out it was the middle of my shift and I worked night shift at the time. So it was around like midnight. And I just, my husband kept calling and I answered the phone and found out. And I just, got panicked and was wondering if I should leave or what I should do. So I told my supervisor and then, I asked her what was the next steps. Like, was I supposed to go home? Is there a way I could get tested that night at the time since I was at the hospital? And so we also called my manager. There was a COVID hotline that the job offered. I called that, but no one was answering because it was only doing business hours. And so, but there, was no other guidelines besides, take your temperature, and as long as you're asymptomatic, then you can continue to work as normal. But at the time, I didn't have a temperature. I had no symptoms of coronavirus, so I continued to work just wearing a mask, even though that necessarily wasn't a requirement, but just to, feel safe for myself and my coworkers. I didn't want to spread it at all. And
did your symptoms come first or did your diagnosis come first?
My symptoms came first. So that happened like a Wednesday night. that I found out that they had tested positive. And of course, I let everybody know that I had contact with. And then that next week, his mom had been like put on a ventilator. They said at the time she was stable. Well, that next Friday, that morning, they called us and told us she wasn't doing well. I had just gotten off work again. So, I immediately told him, well, let's try to get down there to Byron since, she's not doing well, and we'll have to, see if we can find out what's going on exactly. And because since she was on a COVID floor, nobody had contact with her. The only time that we got updates was when the charge nurse of the unit would let us know. And so we never, got to speak to her directly. Of course, she was intubated at the time and on, sedated, so we couldn't talk to her. But we never got a full report from a nurse or anything. The doctors weren't doing too well about keeping our father-in-law updated. So it was just, a lot of just people telling us she's stable until that morning. So then that morning we went down there, and while we were trying to get into the ER, which, they checked our temperatures and everything, and they told us that, we got a phone call from his sister saying that she passed. And I hadn't slept that night. I drove to Byron because, of course, he was upset as we were driving down. And so that day we were, they did bring us into a part of the ER just to tell us, that she passed and who was with her and stuff. But we didn't, of course, as they were telling my father-in-law that she wasn't doing good, he had a bad cough, so he ended up getting admitted into the ER. So and all of that, like, it was just a lot of miscommunication. So, they didn't tell him. And so my husband had to be the one to tell him that she had passed. It was just, it was unreal. And like working in healthcare, I just couldn't believe, like, the system had kind of failed in that part because of how it was handled. And so they, sent us out of the hospital, told us, to leave and, immediately go take a shower and everything. Of course, we went down there. We didn't have any clothes or anything. So we had to go to Walmart just to get like clothes and like stuff just to stay to make funeral arrangements. And so we went there. Of course, we wore masks and everything. But when we got back to the room that night after eating, I just, started feeling like pain all over. And, I hadn't been asleep all day. It was like, over 36 hours I had been awake. So I was thinking like maybe that's why I'm feeling all this pain and feeling so tired and just drained. So I, we had got like a humidifier and stuff. So it was like midnight. I set that up, then I finally laid down, and I was just like, why is it feeling like my body's shutting down? And I laid down, and the next morning I was expecting to feel better, but the next morning I still felt like I was just sore all over, and I was having a hard time like getting dressed and getting out the house, the hotel at the time to go make to the funeral home to make the arrangements. And I told him, I was like, I just don't feel right. Like I'm all sore all over and stuff. And, I did look on the website for the COVID-19 symptoms and stuff. And it didn't really say it's like it's talking about the muscle weakness and stuff at the time. So, I still wasn't sure if that was a symptom of it or not. And so, we just went and made the arrangements. And then as we were leaving the funeral home, I just could not drive. Like my legs got so heavy, I couldn't drive. So I told him to, drive. And I sat in the passenger seat and just went to sleep. And then once I got to the hotel, we got another hotel that night. And I just laid down and I slept for like 6 hours. And while I was sleeping, like he woke me up and told me he was going to go back up to the hospital to try to see if he could get her belongings. Well, that was when he went up to the hospital. That's when he found out he had a fever, and they told him then that, he should go get tested, but they didn't do the testing there. So we were going to have to make an appointment for a later time. So they told him to call that morning the number for the hotline. And that next morning is when I was like, we'll just go to Atlanta and get tested. So at least we'll be close to home. If they have to admit you or anything, we'll be close to home. So we drove back home. That's when, I made the decision that we should just quarantine, just because we both had been symptomatic.
Let's fast forward to when you actually got an appointment to see, to be tested. Tell me about that.
So I told them once my husband got his results in and he was positive, they told me to assume I was positive, but they had me come in and test. They didn't have any openings that day, but the next day I was able to get an appointment to go in and actually get tested. So, of course, they did the swab. That was the only time that I really had a low-grade fever. It was 99. But like, I never had a fever. I never had like a cough until later on, after I was tested positive. But even then, it wasn't like a consistent cough. It was like I would occasionally cough, and it was, allergy season. So nothing, they didn't count that, or they didn't think it was an actual symptom, because I never had like the temp or anything, or the body chills or all that kind of stuff initially.
What were your dominant symptoms, so that anybody who might be some or all that people in social media world can hear? What were your dominant symptoms?
So the day I got my positive test results, I lost my sense of taste. And that was a telltale sign, because, of course, that's not normal. So once I lost my sense of taste, and I did have one night where I had night sweats. So I woke up just completely drenched. And so that was the only time where I had like the night sweats or anything that was kind of flu-like symptoms. Otherwise, I was sneezing, but of course it was around allergy season, so they didn't really count that. And then, just the severe body ache, and then like when I would do a lot of stuff, I would get really fatigued, and just kind of not be able to do as much activity as I usually do, because I'm pretty active.
Well, we're so sorry about your mother-in-law. I know how that feels. That's something that I can relate to. I am so sorry. Tell social media who all, out of coming in contact with your in-laws, how many members of your family were infected? Who were infected? How many?
So only people were infected was my in-law side of the family. So it was my husband, my father-in-law, and my sister-in-law that happened to be visiting that same day.
What is your message, briefly, to people who ascribe, even now, after over 120,000 people in this country alone have perished to COVID-19? What is your message to people who ascribe to these conspiracy theories, who call it a hoax, those who say that masks are not necessary, that social distancing should no longer be happening, to those who are just treating it very, very casual? What would you say to them as a survivor and as a registered nurse?
I would say, because of course we wasn't sure it was real, because we only saw celebrities getting it at first, but just from experiencing it, and going through that pain of losing somebody to it, it's not worth the risk. Like, protect yourself, protect your family. Like, we've lost almost an entire generation because of this virus. So just be careful. It's not worth it.
Y'all heard it from someone who knows about science as a registered nurse. You've heard it from the same person who has experienced it firsthand, having it herself, her husband, in-law, sister-in-law, and one person, lost their life. So listen, you all, trust the scientists, the medical experts, and the survivors. Thank you for coming, Tremisa. It was a blessing to hear your story. It's sad that your mother-in-law passed away, but I admire your boldness
Yeah.
for still coming forward in the midst of that to inform people out there to try to dispel some of the myths of COVID-19.
Yes,
What is your
ma'am.
mother-in-law's name? Let's speak her name out into the atmosphere. What is your mother-in-law's name?
It was Rhoda Dowse. It was a sweet woman. She touched a lot of people in her lifetime. Right?
Now, before I go,
Mhm.
I want you to let people know how they can contact you via social media.
You can contact me on Facebook at Tremisa Dowse. My email is misaparis@gmail.com. Instagram at social.butterfly. Snapchat at Virtuous Queen 13. Also Cash App Virtuous Queen 13.
But thank you so much for coming. Call us if you need us, okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure. Bye bye.
And now for our next guest. Now this might get a little closer to home for me because this happens to be my sister, my real sister, Shirley Presley. She's a licensed respiratory therapy in Gwinnett County and a COVID-19 survivor. Please give a warm, God bless you, absolute Al welcome to Shirley Presley. Hey, Shirley.
Hi, Al. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on. And it's not just
Oh, it's my
because you're my sister.
pleasure.
You came on because you really want to come, right? Did I threaten
Yes, of course, of course. I haven't missed a
you? Supposed
show.
to say, you're supposed to say no to the threat part, okay?
No.
But okay. Well, thank you for coming on. And I know what we're about to discuss is emotional for me, but it's not about me, it's about you. Shirley, tell the social media audience about your process. How did you find out that you had COVID-19?
Well, of course, I actually want to thank you for actually allowing me and calling me to come on. I've been watching your show since it started, and kudos to you. Kudos to you. You're awesome. Um, I was at work on March the 25th through the 27th. I worked those days, and I wasn't really feeling well. I actually thought it was sinus infection because, the pollen was out at that time and I'd been outside, in and out of the house. And actually, because of the COVID, I did a little shopping, so I was out with that. But by that Saturday morning on the 28th, I just told my coworker, I literally just do not feel well. I was like, I'm sure I have a sinus infection. And so that Saturday, by the time I went home, got in the house, I told Corey, who's my husband, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm taking a shower, go to bed. And when I woke up that afternoon, I had a fever like 101. So I just still thought that it was it was infection. So I would take the medicine, go away, come back, go away, come back. So by Sunday evening, my husband said, if you don't call the doctor, I will. Because at that time my fevers were running 102, 102 back and forth. And so I called my doctor. He said, yes, it sounds like you might have an infection, but because of what's going on, I want you to quarantine yourself for the next 14 days. What's the last day you work? Gave him that date, so he cut me off to the 11th. And so once I called my hospital, my manager, they then sent me to our hospital COVID line. And so they set me up for a test on the 31st, and I went in, worst test ever. And on the April the 1st, they called me and said that I was positive. And that threw me because I literally just never would have thought that I would be the one to contract it, not knowing. And I still, honestly, to this day, cannot tell you how I contracted because I was working, even though I work in what we call the safest part of the hospital, which is over in the NICU, the L&D, but we still have people coming in, visiting their babies, touching the elevators on a continuous basis.
And I have a confession. When we spoke, in my heart, I'm not a doctor, you know that. I don't know. I just kind of knew, and I felt like it would be easier to believe that it was a sinus infection because I know what you suffer from, So I just was but in my heart, in my head, I knew. And so when you told us you had it, your siblings, you told us all at one time, yeah, I know how I feel. Tell me how you feel.
Honestly, I just tell you, I think I was still in denial, and refusing to, and I just refused to let that diagnosis take over me. Because if you all noticed throughout my entire time, I never said that I had COVID-19. I just said I was positive. That's how I work with it. I just chose to believe that I'm just positive and I can get through this. And thank God for, of course, y'all, my siblings, praying warriors, my church. And y'all, I'm telling you, I think I got the last best husband there is on earth. He immediately did everything that, he always take care of the kids. So it wasn't, oh, he's taking on the kids. Now he's always taking care of the kids, but he called his job and they immediately let him work from home. And my husband was my full-time caretaker. And I tried to put him out the room. He refused to leave me. But when he cooked, I got my 3 meals at my 3 squares on the cot. I got that every day. My husband, whenever my fever would break and I would be dripping wet, I'm trying to clean myself. He said, you're my responsibility. He took on everything. So I just thank God for my husband with that. And I too, being a respiratory therapist, know how the lung worked and everything. I did things when I could, when I wasn't down, breathing techniques, moved around. And because lots of times with this disease, the pneumonia that settles in is what really catches people. And I did everything that I could to not develop pneumonia. And so
my whole scare was, okay, so now she has it. Corey taking care of her. I had fear for the girls. I was like, oh God. So I was like, Corey, could you not do something? I got to. Who else gonna do? So that was my big thing. And I remember hearing the Solomon pray. He said, he was praying for you, but then he said, and God, just, Uncle Corey. I was like, you prayed for him more than You prayed for Shirley. And he's like, oh, but didn't you tell me she said she was going to be okay? So his childlike faith believed what you said. And I'm glad he did, because we did too. But it was just painful. It was painful because his whole thing was, he didn't want Corey, Courtney, and London to get it. Those are her daughters, everybody. He was just like, I just don't want them to get it. And you never owned a diagnosis. You just said you were positive. And I think that mentally helped you. I believe it did.
Yeah.
Did little for me.
Did little.
Very little. But you went through it like a champ, Shirley. I can say that. You went through it like a champ. You went through it to the point that when we were all on the phone talking, he's like, can I say something? Because I need y'all to know that I'm going to be okay. So whatever y'all thinking and all these tears I'm hearing, I just need y'all to know I'm going to be okay. And that was, that helped certain people. It didn't help me. Do I believe in God? Oh, y'all know I believe it. It's just I couldn't understand how you got it. I didn't want to. I was mad. I was like, why she got it?
Yeah. Well, I take it on as a kind of honor that the Lord chose to use me to let certain people know that you can beat this. And, just like, Bob used Job because he knew what Job was going to do. And I take it as a privilege. The Lord knew that I was going to believe his word over what was said. And that's how I got through it. And I have a 19-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 51-year-old. So I can't go anywhere. I have to be here to help take care of them, to do what I do. Now, I must say, your nieces took on you. They knocked at the door. They handed me stuff with the gloves on. And but overall, I just, I am just thankful that I am here to be able to tell the world that you can beat this. Now, however, I don't think that y'all should be out without a mask at this point in time, just because the numbers have gone down some, but I still work in the hospital and I still see, honestly, being real, patients dying daily of this disease. The ERs are full again because they thought, because the numbers are down, they can still go out without masks. When your healthcare workers are still wearing masks, the 12 hours that we are at work, surely everyone else, you should really have a mask on and wash your hands. This is.
Well, you're saying that, and I trust you because I know you and I know what you've been through. But when you have people who are in authoritative positions telling you they don't, it's not, you don't have to, and they're allowing you to congregate in closed settings by the multitude. A healthcare worker like you, how do you beat that? How do you compete with that voice?
Pray for them and just make sure I have enough gear when they come into the emergency room, because literally people are going to do what they want to do, and they're going to hear because they're wanting to get back out. So any person, whether it's right or wrong, say you can do it, they're going to take it as word. But I still work in that hospital 3 days a week. In our ICU, where it normally takes 2, sometimes 1.5 therapists to work, they're using 4. So please take it. If you're still on the front line, it's not strands, because once they figure out one strand, another one appears. So please wash your hands and wear your mask.
On your professional opinion, should we be going back to church now? Should we be going to restaurants inside? I mean, just be candidly. From your professional opinion, and as a COVID survivor, I feel like you've earned the right to speak on this.
I mean, yes, eventually we do want to get back to all of this, but I just don't think that enough people have been tested yet, because now they're finding that some of these rapid exams and tests are invalid. And I know we have to get back to life And it's not going to be ever as we know it, but to our new life, but it should be still a little bit, some more things set in place before it's full force again.
Well, what about when someone says, with the voice of authorities, that testing is a two-edged sword? The more you test, the higher it goes up. I don't know. That makes no sense to me. Talk about that, because I'm just going to say it. The orange man is telling people that testing is a problem. Speak to that.
Honestly, I respect his position as president, but that's it.
Okay.
I
He don't
respect.
he don't know what the hell he's talking about, right?
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Because he's being tested every day. He shouldn't be being tested if he didn't think that no one needs it. Yeah.
Well, I thank you for telling people that they should wear masks from a professional healthcare provider's point of view. I think that's who we should listen to, the healthcare providers, especially our doctors, practitioners, nurses, therapists such as yourself. We should listen to the scientists, those who are aggressively and diligently trying to find a vaccine. I think that we should listen to them as well. Because I know for a fact, if I had a legal problem, I definitely would not go to a plumber. And if I had a leak, I wouldn't go to an attorney. I would definitely go to the professional person who's licensed or registered in that field to get my advice and to get my work done. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your honesty, and thank you for your perspective from a professional point of view. And it's a testimony, Shirley. I really, it felt like I had it too. That's how we felt. We were, we trusted God, and because we did, our faith finds us here today. Thank you for coming. Let people know how they can get at you, how they can look you up. Just do that.
Yeah, I'm Shirley Presley. I can be reached at presscon2@gmail.com. Email, Facebook on Shirley Presley. Instagram, Shirley Presley. Twitter, Shirley RVP. Cash App, Presscon2. And my number, of course, is 404-840-9694. And it was a pleasure speaking with you all this evening. I'm also your insurance agent. If you need any of that, that's Presley at Primerica.com. And that's it. I love you. Thanks.
Love you too. Thank you.
Okay.
I tell Mom not to whoop because you came on.
Okay.
Welcome to Royalty Love Creations Incorporated, where we serve as your one-stop shop. We specialize in graphic design of any kind. We assist in event planning, serving as coordinator or host. We provide business essentials and original stationeries for companies and entrepreneurs. We build appealing and professional websites. We specialize in marketing on social media. RLCINC Cinema covers video editing and provide appealing visuals and realistic sound effects. We format, custom design, and mass produce DVD and CD packages of your footage or audio for distribution. Serves as a performing arts professional, specializing in playwriting and script editing, and fully equipped to provide all theatrical related services. We direct and produce stage plays, short films, music videos, and much more. We write and perform songs to fit any mood or occasion. Please follow us on social media. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share our website with your friends. Royalty Love Creations Incorporated would love to roll out the red carpet and give your creation or event the royal treatment. Looking forward to serving you soon.
Hey, y'all get ready for this. We are going to hear from a man who went through COVID-19 like a champ. He's here tonight to give us his testimony and to bless our hearts with one of his songs. He is independent gospel recording artist, my friend and brother, someone I love a lot, Mr. Terrence Cotton.
Absolutely am.
Terrence, thank you so much for agreeing to come on. We go back a long way, but that don't mean some people be acting funny. But you said, hey, yeah, right away. So thank you so much. You look good, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've been a fan of yours. I remember a concert. I know we didn't come on to talk about this, but I remember a
Well,
concert
go ahead.
that you were preparing for. I think I had to have been, I know I was under 10, but I
You were
mean,
young.
I have always been so fascinated how people say that Kim Burrell and all these people are, they're crazy about. Well, listen, you was our Kim Burrell. I mean, back then.
Thank you. Thank you. So sweet. But you always could sing, even then. That little boy who had just moved back from California with your
Yeah.
singing parents. Oh my goodness. And your mom always had a special place in my heart, and I miss her. Their
Yeah.
style of worship. I don't know if you realize that they changed the game in Macon when it came to gospel singing. When they came back home, we were like,
Uh-huh.
hey, what's going on? But we adopted that James and Faye Cotton style of praise and worship and Macon, and it spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
But and that gift was passed along to you. So that's why you're here today. You're gonna bless our hearts. But before we go into that, we gotta talk about what the devil thought he was gonna do with you. What did he think he was gonna do with you by giving you COVID-19? Just walk us through the process briefly.
Okay. So I started out, I thought that I had the flu. And my symptom was a little different from a lot of people. I started out with the chills. I mean, like no matter what, I could not get warm. Um, and I had a fever that was really high, and no matter what we did, we couldn't get that down either. And I had this really bad cough. Well, which a lot of people don't know, I'm on dialysis. So when I went to dialysis, they were the ones that really kind of noticed. They were like, well, have you been tested for COVID? And I was like, no. They was like, well, before we can let you back in here, you need to go and have a test. So I went to the emergency room, and unfortunately, back then, if you didn't have the symptoms that they thought you had, they wouldn't even give you a test. Yeah. So my kidney doctor called the hospital while I was there and told them, said, hey, listen, he can't get treatment unless he have a test. And he's saying that y'all won't let him have a test. So he's not going to leave there until you test him. And the lady kept telling me and her that we don't have no test. We don't have no test here. Well, amazingly, they just found a test from somewhere, and yeah, they tested me, sent me
Like
back home,
magic.
and they told me it was going to take 10 days for me to find out. Yeah. So my doctor called me and she said, yeah, you did test positive. And by that time, she told me, which was about 3 days, I had already, by that time, I was in the bed. I couldn't really walk. My equilibrium was off. I couldn't eat anything. When I tried to eat, my taste buds was off. So I just wouldn't eat. I was just probably drinking a little juice here and there. And then so eventually it got to a point where my breathing kind of changed a little bit, and I had to go to the emergency. I had to go to the hospital, and so they kept me. And I was in there for about 4 days because my oxygen level wouldn't stay up.
You didn't require intubation, but you require oxygen. Did you need oxygen support in some form, like a respirator, not a vent?
Yeah, I didn't get that far, but that was my next step. If they couldn't get my oxygen level to stay up. Yeah, so eventually it did get up, and we were able to keep it up. But um after I left the hospital, I got home and I was still a little sick. But Al, I still right now suffer from some issues due to me having COVID. Like I haven't like I told you, I haven't been singing. My ears, it's like I've been flying in an airplane, and when you get ready to come down, they won't pop. I, I've been dealing with that since March. Prostate issues. Yeah, it's just been one thing after another, even now. And then on top of that, it's the mental part.
Right. Talk to us
You know,
about that, because that was the one thing that you really impressed upon me. You were like, Allison, physically, I can make it. I think I
yeah,
can, but
yeah.
mentally, talk to people about that. They need to hear that. Go ahead.
So mentally, I'm at a point to where now I'm almost afraid to go into large large places, or where people are going to be, or like to Walmart and Kroger's and places like that. It just kind of freaks me out a little bit. If I go in there, I got on gloves and mask, and I'm in there and I'm out. I don't see me going to the movies anytime soon. Just stuff like that, just because I don't know where I got it from, and then nobody's been able to tell me that since I've had it, if I can get it again. So it's just it's just that fear of the unknown, and because I don't want to go through that again, and I wouldn't wish
I know
that
you
on nobody.
don't.
It was
We don't
rough.
want you to go through it again. So we appreciate that you're practicing safety measures that the CDC and the
Mhm.
FDA have put in place. They're saying that mask protection, social distancing, gloves, and then
Mhm.
of course stay at home if you can. But I know people have to work and go get food or what have you. But
Mhm.
I don't see you as being fearful. I see it as you are being very cautious, and I commend
Oh,
you for that. So I want you to look in the camera and tell people who are still ascribing to these crazy conspiracy theories that this is a hoax, that it's just like a flu, and you don't need a mask, and
mhm.
there's some people out there saying, people with authoritative voices, hint hint,
Mhm.
orange people. Um,
Yeah,
tell people
yeah.
the truth. You've been through telling the truth.
It's definitely real. And I put up a post on Facebook, because I wasn't going to say anything, but I put a post on Facebook, because I wanted people that were on Facebook, that were my friends, that were I want them to see that, hey, y'all know somebody that have had it. You know, I'm just a regular person, so it's no reason, because everybody talking about the government. Well, why would the government want to give me corona? It's serious. It's
And
serious.
why
I
would
watch.
you be dumb enough? And why would you be dumb enough to receive it?
Right. Yeah. Who really? Yeah. I don't get nothing from that other than being sick.
Right.
But yeah,
So
I
you
hear
so
that
you
all the time.
do you you do advise that people wear masks. Tell them.
Yeah. I advise that you wear a mask. I keep hand sanitizer with me at all times. Even when it come to my mind, I just I do it. I do it. I even, and this is funny, I even went online to see if I could put it on my face. Because they say you touch your face, and then
It is
of
for
course
such.
they, yeah. But I mean, just, yeah, you have to, you can't just assume, because I have young adult kids, and whenever I talk to them about it, the first thing they say is, "Oh, that's my cousin. She don't have it." Oh, you don't know that.
Don't know.
You don't know that, and you don't know if she's been around other people that had it. And you all have seen what I went through, but this this young generation, they still, they're not practicing the 6 feet away. I work in property management. I'm at work now, but I don't let people in my office. I just don't. And if you do come in here, you got to have on a mask and some gloves. It's real. Y'all need, you need to take heed to it, because everybody's come out is not the same. I've had a lot of friends who have passed. I've
Yeah.
had a friend of mine whose sister couldn't stop going to church when they said stop going to church, and her church was open, and she lived with their mother, and she kept going to church. And she got it from church, came home and gave it to the mama. The mama died, but she's still alive. All because you couldn't stop going to church.
I see how other countries like the Netherlands, even South Korea,
Mhm.
so close to the actual epicenter where it all began in China, how they've done things so differently than we did. They immediately shut down. They went into massive testing. We're the richest, most powerful, most resourceful country on the planet, and we have 120,000 deaths to our credit, and that shouldn't be.
Yes.
I believe that we should listen to the scientists, the doctors, the medical experts, and people like Terrence Cotton who have gone through it. And that's why we invited you here today, and we're so grateful that you came. Now that you told us about COVID-19, you know what we want to hear, not much. And I'm going to tell everybody out there that this man has not sung since God allowed him to go through COVID and survive, which so many have not. He has chosen to bless us here at the Absolutely Al Show and you out in social media world with his big and powerful gift of song. He's a singer. He enjoys good singing, but Terrence can just sing. Y'all, I seen Terrence sing laying down on a play stage one time. He is music. What kind of projects do you have going on right now? We got to know about that. Just briefly, give us a little bit. What projects? What are you working on?
I have a project actually that's out, a whole project that you can get on iTunes, all of the digital stores, and it's been going quite well.
Drop the title of that. Let us know the title of your project that's out right now.
Terrence Cotton live in Atlanta.
Y'all will get that wherever you can do digital musical downloads. Y'all need to go check it out. I'm telling y'all, I don't give people credit that they don't deserve. This man can sing. He's a singing child. He's a singing grown man, and we're going to get a little bit of it tonight. Let people know how they can get at you.
My name is Terrence Cotton. For booking, it's bookingtcotton@gmail.com. Facebook is Terrence Cotton /Facebook. And my Instagram is The Real Terrence Cotton. That's all of it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, without ado, I present to you a singing sensation in Mr. Terrence Cotton.
So I'm going to do a song. I didn't write it. It's a song that all of us know, and it's just a kind of like a little worship song that I sing sometimes when I'm by myself, and I'm just going to sing a little bit of it. Lord, I will lift my eyes to the hills, knowing my help is coming, Lord, from you. Your peace you give me in time of the storm. You are the source of my strength. Yeah, you are the strength of my life. And I lift my hands in total praise to you.
Boy, ain't no wrong with your voice, honey. God just wants to look
Oh
this
Lord.
holy for us. And we so appreciate it. I feel honored. I really do. And I know the ladies on the team feel honored that you made your comeback right here on the Absolutely Air Show. We are so grateful. Terrence, we love you.
I love
Thank
you
God
too.
for you. We just counted victory with you that you
Yeah.
are still here after all you've been through. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. We count it an honor that you made your comeback here on the Absolute Air Show. You could have done that anywhere, but you chose us because we asked, and we thank you for it.
Yeah.
It's for future projects, whether it be appearances, you're singing somewhere, plays, whatever. Come back and let us know. Call us up, say, hey, I know y'all still got that show. Can I come on? Come on. You're always welcome here, okay? We love
All right.
you,
So
Terrence. Go ahead.
listen, Allison. So I just want you to promise me that one day in the near future that you and I and maybe one other person will do a coming back home to Macon concert.
Oh, yeah. You got my word on that.
Okay.
That's
All
my
right.
word. I do that. I'll
Okay.
be glad to do that, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. We love you, okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody in social media world for coming out to another episode of the Absolute Air Show. We'd like to thank our guests, COVID survivors, Tremisa Dials, Shirley Presley, and powerhouse gospel artist Terrence Cotton. Now y'all gotta come back next week because we got something else for y'all. You know, we keep it pumping up around here. So we're gonna have melody and comedy again. Melody is our music, and we have a comedian, Mr. Hollywood, who's gonna come and make us giggle, giggle, giggle. We have singer celebrity Elise from New York. We have gospel artist Elijah Bell. We call him Jay the Chosen One. And we have the Agape Music Group with Sequoia Howard and Sherwood Brown Jr. Y'all better come back. Don't miss that. We will see you next Friday night at 10 o'clock p.m. on Facebook at 3 Faces of Me. Go ahead and like that page and follow us. We love you and good night.
Time to party. Absolutely, yeah.
That Al is one foxy gal.
Absolutely, yeah. That's me. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. She's a boss, and that ain't no floss, cause she's dripping with that spicy Al sauce. Wife, mother of a baby boy, and after 14 years, she's still a greatest
That's
boy.
right,
Brilliant,
baby.
resilient, passionate, and savvy. Ooh, that Al is such a baddie. Singer-songwriter, political fighter, trendsetter, ain't nobody better.
She's smooth, she's cool, breaks all the rules.
Show to y'all.
Joy